Hi, my name's Gordon McCrory from Kaizen Active, and today's presentation is all about what the very latest scientific evidence tells us about which of all the diets out there is the very best diet for weight loss. I'm going to make a huge promise right off. If you listen all the way through to the end, not only will you discover where you've been going wrong in the past, you'll also learn what you need to do differently in the future to get into and stay in great shape. This presentation will remove the confusion, potentially save you years of struggle, and ultimately change how you think about and approach diets forever. Now, before I get started, I want to spend just 60 seconds telling you about me and why you should listen to me when it comes to how best to lose weight. So, my name's Gordon McCrory and I'm Kaizen Active's nutrition expert. The top picture of me is when I was obese in my late 20s, and the bottom picture is me now at 44. As you can see, I've learned how to get the weight off and keep it off. When I was on my weight loss journey, I used to get really frustrated that some things that should have made me lose weight didn't. There was simply too much conflicting information out there. So I decided I was going to figure out this obesity and weight loss thing once and for all. So I quit working, went to uni, and 4 years later graduated top of my class. Not because I was the smartest, but because I was prepared to work harder than anyone else. Exercise and health science is my passion, so it never feels like work, not when you're a science geek. After uni, I set up Kaizen Active with my best friend from uni, David Thompson, and our mission was to help people, and still is to help people I guess, get fit, lose weight and feel great. I knew how this had changed my life and I wanted to help others do the same. One thing David and I found when we started working with clients was that although people often knew what they should do, they often struggled to do what they needed to do. So they knew what they should do, but they struggled to do it. So in addition to studying behaviour change science, I became an NLP coach and neuro-linguistic programming coach. This means that not only do I teach our clients what they need to know, I also have the skills and techniques to help them make and persist with the changes they struggled to make in the past using coaching and NLP techniques. In addition to my own weight loss journey, I've now got over 10 years experience studying and working with nearly 1,000 clients. And my opinions on what works and what doesn't have changed a lot over the years. And during this presentation, I want to share with you the best of what I know, what really works and what doesn't, in essence to help you see the wood from the trees. It's taken me a decade to get to this point, and I'm going to condense almost all the key weight loss facts into this one presentation. And finally, my mission is to motivate, educate, support and inspire as many people as I possibly can. But enough about me. Let's find out what's the best diet for you. So, which diet is best? Well, the first problem is that there's so much choice. So we can't go through them all, but I would like to talk just briefly about some of the main ones and then ask which is best. So, paleo is the diet people talk of as the most natural one our ancestors ate. If it didn't run, fly or swim or isn't green, grows in the ground, then you don't eat it. So the rules are really simple, but kind of restrictive if you like carbs, as this diet's very high in protein and fat and low in carbs. Sure, it's got loads of good about it, but it's also a long way away from how most people eat today. So if you love pasta, rice, potatoes, etc., this diet probably isn't for you. The same kind of comment goes for Atkins. It's very high in proteins and fats, low in carbs. Sure, you will lose weight quickly on it. However, as soon as you go back to eating as normal, the weight piles back on, usually with some interest. The same of which I guess could be said about most diets, with the weight going back on as soon as you stop. Being a vegetarian or a vegan can also be a great choice for some, but it can be hard to eat enough protein. And then there's kind of pesticides sprayed in the crops. So this one I think is a minority approach. Great for some people, of course, but a bit of a minority approach in our experience. Then we've got the government's MyPlate approach, which has tried to kind of simplify things a lot. However, as you can see on it, it's got no place for fats in the diet, which is just plain wrong, kind of in my opinion. So, okay. Weight Watchers and Scottish Slimmers both focus on counting points, a way to measure calories, and these tend to be higher carb, lower fat, and that's because fats are high in calories and therefore points. They allow people to save up points to be used towards treats to be eaten at a time of their choice. These diets are definitely a popular choice. They're clearly big business. But how well do they really work? Well, for a small percentage of people, they definitely work well. But do you really want to be a lifetime member of a diet club? Then we've got the Mediterranean diet, lots of fresh fish, produce, olive oil, beautiful salads. Definitely a healthy choice, unless of course you're concerned about the omega-3 fats that might not be so good for you after all. There's some recent research on that, although I think omega-3 fats are very good for you. This diet is more of a balance of protein, fats and carbohydrates than the likes of Atkins. And then kind of, I guess we've got how often should you eat. So to add a little bit more confusion into the mix, should you eat lots of small meals, maybe kind of 6 small meals, or is 3 main meals better for fat loss? Which is best? And finally, we've got intermittent fasting, where you eat as normal for 5 days and then massively restrict calories for 2 days a week. So which is best, and what are the key differences? So the key differences between all these diets, the thing that they all debate, is the proportion of carbohydrates to fats to proteins. So many people think, for example, you have to eat really low carb to lose weight, whilst others think, no, you've got to really limit the amount of fat. But which is best? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. At the end of 2013, there were 2 meta-analyses done. A meta-analysis is a study of studies where they gather all the data together and they were trying to finally put an end to the debate. So here's what they found. The studies found that there was no significant difference in the results between any of the diets. That's right, none of them worked any better than any of the others. What's more, they concluded the amount of carbs, fats and proteins in people's diets didn't make any difference to the results. So in other words, each diet was as good as any other. So perhaps we've all been arguing about the wrong things. We've been looking in the wrong place for the answer. And it kind of makes sense that none of them is better. Although of course we don't want this to be the case because we've been trying to find out which is best for a long time. But bear with me. Most of us know people who've been on various diets, ourselves included. We know people who've got in great shape and perhaps on an Atkins or paleo, or a vegetarian that's in great shape, or someone that goes to Scottish Slimmers, or someone that does intermittent fasting. So we know that any of them can work, even if they often appear kind of opposite in their approach. So how can that be? Well, I'm going to answer that in just a little bit, but for now, back to the latest with these studies. The only thing that these meta-analyses found that did make a difference to the results was adherence, whether people could stick to the diet. If they could stick to it, they did great, and if they couldn't, the diet wouldn't work. Pretty straightforward, really, eh? So maybe we've all been asking the wrong question. Maybe we shouldn't be looking to find out what's the best diet. Maybe we should be looking to find out what's the best diet for me. So how should we go about choosing a diet? So here's what really matters. We've all been arguing about if pasta's good or bad, if fruit's good or bad, if fat's good or bad. You get the picture. But at the end of the day, that's not the thing that's making the difference. So instead of looking at the differences between the diets when they work, perhaps we should be looking for the things they've got in common. After all, it's possible to get into great shape in any of them. And if they can all work as well as each other, then what is it that they've got in common? Well, the science shows that it's not just about the foods that you're eating. We've covered that. It's about your ability to stick to the plan, and therefore it's a lot about the foods that you're not eating much of. So when you're choosing any diet, the first thing you really need to choose is an approach that allows you to eat foods you like, because if you don't, you'll just fall off the wagon and likely beat yourself up. So first off, pick a plan that you think you can follow. However, beyond that, what best practices do they all share that can help you lose weight with ease and keep it off? Well, here's what they all have in common. All diets raise your awareness and focus to what you're eating, and this is vitally important. And again, you know this. When you're focused on a diet, you do well and feel great, but when life gets in the way and your focus slips, so does your eating. So the first thing that you need to do is maintain your focus. Next, all successful diets, well, at least those that work in the longer term, focus on shifting the balance between good quality, nutrient-dense food and fast food, which in turn means your body's better nourished, your metabolism will work better, you'll feel better, and therefore you'll continue to eat better. And of course, by eating better quality food, you will eat a lower quantity of calories, and therefore you're going to lose weight. So, in addition to raising awareness and focus, improving the quality of food that you eat, and creating a calorie deficit, what else do they have in common? Well, most of them eliminate nutrient deficiencies and limit your appetite. They do this by eating more veggies, and most of them by eating more fruit too, although more fruit is definitely debated by the likes of Atkins. I too used to limit fruit intake, both personally and with our diet plans that I was writing. However, this is something that in my opinion is now definitely changed. Fruit and veg will increase the amount of fibre and nutrients you eat, and this will help keep you full and help your metabolism function as it should. Regarding fruit, the truth is, I was always uncomfortable limiting fruit intake for our clients. I knew fruit was healthy, but at the time I hadn't found a way to let clients continue to enjoy all the other carbs they wanted to have, to eat plenty of pasta and rice, potatoes, bread, etc., and fruit too. I'm happy to say we've now solved this, and we've got plenty of fruit back on the menu, and eating fruit doesn't mean that you won't lose weight. It's entirely possible and easy to lose weight quickly whilst eating fruit, providing you follow the other best practices. So, next, you need to stay well hydrated, and you do this by simply drinking more water. It'll help control your appetite and flush out toxins, meaning you feel good and your body functions better. Maximum fat burning needs for you to be adequately hydrated. So drink more water, somewhere in the region of 2.5 litres a day, a little bit more if you are active. You should also eat more protein. Research has proven protein keeps you fuller for longer, a fact that Marks and Spencer's developed their fuller, longer range on. And limiting appetite means you eat fewer calories without feeling hungry, and this again means you lose fat faster. Despite what you may believe or have been told, and this came from government sources decades ago, healthy fats are also really important to include in your diet. So oily fish, nuts, avocado oil, coconut oil, although you do only need a very small quantity. Some vitamins are fat soluble, and your body needs fat in the diet to ensure it's able to make use of the vitamins it finds in your food. But just that word of caution again, with fats, a little goes a long way. And finally, all diets that work well and allow you to keep weight off involve increasing your activity levels. Exercise isn't brilliant on its own for weight loss. It's actually pretty rubbish, and again, you probably know this if you've tried to lose weight through just exercising more. It can take around 12 hours of exercise classes to lose just 1 pound of body fat. However, when you add exercise into changed dietary habits, it makes a big difference to the speed of your results and also how good you feel and your ability to keep the lost weight off. So more vegetables, more fruit, drink more water, eat more protein, eat some healthy fats, and be more active. So now you know what you need to do, let's look at what you need to do less of. Let's look at what you need to significantly limit. These might seem obvious, but by focusing on eating more of the good stuff, what's actually going on is you're limiting lots of the bad stuff. Also note, nothing's actually bad per se. You can eat anything in moderation. However, junk food, fast food, and alcohol are all significantly reduced in all the diets. So if you eat or drink too much of this is what needs to be swapped out with better choices. And also, definitely think about your portion sizes. You should eat slowly and until you're 80% full. Nourishing your body with lots of fruit, veg, and natural produce, and exercising regularly can also reduce emotional or binge eating, as nourishing your body and exercising regularly will definitely improve how you feel. It won't necessarily stop all emotional binge eating, but it will definitely make a significant impact for most people. And if it still persists and holds you back, get in touch, as we've got a variety of techniques and strategies to make a huge difference in this area. Here's one final piece of advice, and this slide is super important. Here's something you need to know. When you're making a change just one thing at a time. The reason most people fail and don't stick to a healthier way of eating is they try to change too much too soon. Does this sound familiar? Changing lots of things at once, think an all or nothing approach, just doesn't work. It doesn't ever work, and there's solid science on kind of what outcome you'll get if you try to change everything at once. Change one thing, you've got an 85% chance of success. Change two things, it falls down to about 35%. Change three things at once, you've got a less than 10% chance of kind of succeeding. So make one change that you feel confident that you can do and keep doing it. That's where you start. Don't pick two or three things, as your odds will just fall dramatically in terms of your successes, and you will fail. Now, where should you start? That depends on you. For some, it might be an easy win. So maybe if you eat kind of too much crisps in a week, then just make a plan to swap most of the crisps with fruit. That would be a win. For others, they might feel confident tackling something a bit bigger. Perhaps their biggest limiting factor is alcohol. So they might choose to drink no alcohol for a whole month. And for someone else, it might just be have breakfast every day. But regardless of your choice, and confidence is key here, ask yourself, between 1 and 10, how confident are you that you can kind of persist with the change for a whole month? Only choose something that you genuinely feel 10 out of 10 that you can do. If you only feel 8 out of 10 for confidence, you need to shrink the size of the change until you can get to a 10 out of 10 for confidence. Because if you only have 8 out of 10 for confidence, again, you're likely to fail as life gets in the way, kind of if it's only 8 out of 10. 2 out of 10 doubt, if you like, is too big. Next, be realistic. Aim for good or great, but not perfect. Life, you know this, won't allow perfect all the time. It's unattainable. If you manage what you wanted to for 28 out of 31 days, that's still a big win. Not managing for 3 days is no big deal in the grand scheme of things. And finally, last piece of advice, persist. Never give up. You can only fail if you give up. So if you want to remove failure as an option, decide to never give up. Sometimes things won't go your way, but learn from them, pick yourself back up and get back on track. And if you ever need a little help, just ask. So, I hope this presentation's been useful for you. Here's a very quick recap of the key points. First thing is, there is no best diet. Science has now shown that, but there are definitely approaches that are wrong for you if you want to get weight off and keep it off forever. If you love pasta, rice, bread, potatoes, that kind of thing, then choosing a low-carb diet is highly unlikely to work well for you. Find an approach that's better suited. Next, stop looking for quick fixes and shortcuts. They don't exist, and if they did, everyone would be doing them. Instead of depriving and starving yourself, think about being kinder to yourself. Give your body what it really needs. Upgrade your diet and nourish yourself. That's the way forwards. And here's a little mind trick to help you decide what to change. Consider what a future you would have to have changed to come into existence. So just visualize a version of you just sitting across from you or whatever. Look at them and think, what's different about them? What did they need to change? What did they need to maybe do differently? What did they need to do more of? What did they need to stop doing? That was almost like your map for success. And then just take it one step at a time. Don't just stop doing lots of things at once. Swap one thing at a time that's holding you back with one thing that would take you forward and is going to be great for you. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you took plenty of great information and nuggets, if you like, from this video. And of course, if you have any follow-up questions or need any help, we're here for you, so just get in touch.